Nashtapreshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavatyuttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Shiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayet Krishne Sudamo Pagate Dharmaganari Bisaha Kalo Nashta Drisham Mesha Puranako Dunoditaha Srimad Bhagavatam Puranam Amalam Yad Vaishnavanam Priyam Yasmin Paramahamsyam Ekam Amalam Jnanam Param Giyate Tatra Jnana Viraga Bhakti Sahitam Naishkarmyam Avishkritam Tachrinvan Supatan Vicharana Paro Bhaktya Vimuchyen Naraha Shlokam Ekam Tadardam Va Padam Padadameva Va Sharavanyo Nushunayat Punat Yatmanameva Saha Sarvavedanta Saram Hi Shri Bhagavatam Mishyate Tadrasamrita Triptasya Nanyatra Syadrati Kochit Krishna Tulya Bhagavat Vibhu Sarvashrai Prati Shloke Prati Akshari Nana Artakai Adi Madhyante Bhagavate Ekai Vishnu Bhakti Nitya Siddha Akshaya Avyay Premamaya Bhagavat Krishnera Shriyanga Tahate Kahena Jata Gopya Krishneranga Vandeham Shiguro Shriyuta Parakamalam Shigurun Vaishnavam Scha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Ragnatan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Purijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitam Scha Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharane Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarane Radha Samukta Samsaktim Saki Sangha Nivasinim Tamaham Satatam Bande Guru Rupam Param Sakim Yankali Rupa Sharira Nadharata Tan Braja Prema Mahanidhi Kutarika Kon Kapata Ughadata Shri Rup Shri Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath Shri Jeev Gopala Bhatt Dasa Raghunath Hey Chai Gosai Kori Charanan Vandan Jahoite Bignanash Abhishta Puran Vanchakapatrupayascha Kripa Sindhu Bhaivacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Ananda Lila Maya Vigrahaya Hemavadivyach Chavisundaraya Tasmei Mahaprema Rasa Pradaya Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste. Balavi Varanamboja Malane Nritya Shalane Nama Pranatapalaya Sri Krishnaya Namo Namaha. Shriman Rasarasarambi Vamshi Vatatata Stitaha Karshan Venus Savaner Gopir Gopinatha Shriye Stunaha Mahabhava Sarupatvam Krishna Priyavariyasi Prema Bhakti Praday Devi Radhike Tvam Namamyaham Bhajami Radham Aravinda Netram Smarami Radham Madhurasmi Tasyam Vadami Radham Karuna Bharardram Tato Mamanyasti Gatir Nakapi. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Shrimad Bhagavatam Mahapurana ki jai, Brajabhumi Vrindavan Dhama ki jai, Radha Rani ki jai, Funky Bihari Lala ki jai, Jai Jai Shri Radhe. Ras Leela, chapter 29, verse 4. Nishamya Gitam Tarananga Vardhanam Rajastriya Krishna Grihita Manasa Ajagmur Anyonyam Alakshito Dyama Sayatra Kanto Javalola Kundala. When the Braja Gopis heard Krishna's flute song on that fateful night of Purnima, their hearts were stirred with romantic desires. Their minds were enchanted by their beloved Krishna. They ran off, left everything behind them. They went to that place where their beloved was waiting beside the Yamuna. None of the gopis knew that the other gopis were running. And each gopi was running so quickly that her earrings were swinging back and forth. This idea that's represented here, the Brajastriya Krishna Grihita Manasa, last point of Grihita Manasa. Acharyas say that this is the symbol of real Vairagya. The highest expression of detachment or Vairagya is only possible in divine love. Vairagya means to give up everything, detachment, renunciation, abandon everything, leave everything behind. Vairagya. Virag, no color, no attachment. Rag means color. Rag means attachment. So virag means that the heart of the man or woman, generally men become vairagis. The heart is no longer colored, rag, with rag, attachment to body, family, name, fame, position, prestige, social duties, social responsibilities, and ashram duties or responsibilities. True Vairagya. Even we see in the great yogis of India, they may be detached in so many ways from eating and the ordinary activities of the modern people of the world, Ahara, Nidra, Maitun, Bhayam. They're single, they're brahmacharya, but they may be attached to prestige. So-and-so Bal Yogi, so-and-so Tantric Yogi. And they rather insist on being recognized that way. And if someone invites them to a venue, they want to make sure their full title is written on the invitation. So there is, even we see so-called renounced people, they will not give up their own names or their own claim to fame. Do you know who I am? I'm so-and-so yogi. I'm so-and-so mystic yogi. Oh, I didn't know. Because we stayed some time in Rishikesh in 1981 for 6-7 months, and every day we were going to Haridwar. In different places, visiting ashrams and also visiting huge ashrams that were run by Vairagi yogis. But when you think of the Gopis, the Acharyas are saying here that it is only in true love of God. True love means divine, sacred, spiritual love. And that type of bondage or relationship between Krishna and his pure devotees, especially the Gopis, we can see the fullest extent of vairagya, the fullest extent of detachment. Because something that would be practically impossible for anyone to give up, a woman to give up her Lajja Dharma, it's like a yogi giving up his kamandalu. The yogi will have his kamandalu or his paduka, he'll have his wooden shoes, or he'll have something, have somewhere to stay, or he'll have keys to some kuti somewhere. But to give up everything and run into the forest. Even yogis, they live in the forest, but they stay in a cave. And they seal the cave at night with a big rock. And they burn a fire outside the cave. Because tigers and nighttime animals, predators, are very much afraid of fire. They run from fire. So they're intelligently protecting themselves because of attachment to their body. Even at the highest stages of what's considered the most respectable display of vairagya, living in Himalayas in a cave, just eating the wild berries or fruits, which is rather rare. We met some and seen some. But they don't simply lie on the open mountainside at night. There is some fear. Attachment to fear is also an attachment. There's 18 coverings on the living entity in material consciousness. Doubt, apprehension, hunger, thirst, fatigue, many coverings of the living entities. One is fear, bhayam, very powerful. The Gopis, Grihita Manasa, they ran out. They didn't think it's Purnima. And in Purnima, the jungle animals become very, very passionate and very, very hungry because they can hunt nicely at night under the moonshine. They can bear the moonshine, but they can't bear a bonfire outside your cave. Even when the yogis are outside, they know the habitats and they live in, you can say, harmony with the jungle animals, but they respect the fear that a tiger represents. I mean, they acknowledge that. So at night, they don't trust the tiger to behave himself. The Gopis ran out into the forest. This is 5,000 years ago. And we all know that 500 years ago in Vrindavan, tigers would drink water from the Yamuna. Tigers would drink water from Pavan Sarovar and Radhakund. Tigers, real live tigers, ha! And wildcats and leopards and all kinds of exciting creatures of the forest. because there was dense forest and proper balance of nature to supply everyone's food. But their love was so great that they forgot everything. They forgot fear, they forgot their bodies, attachments to their body. Self-preservation of the human body, or the, let's say, of oneself, is the first law of material nature. Whether the jiva is in the ant's body, in the body of an ant, or he's in Brahma's body, or in any body, Brahma Bhuvanal Loke, he is concerned about preserving his life and concerned about losing his kingdom or losing his lordship or losing his reign as the controller of the universe or falling from his position. And most obviously, every living entity is afraid of death. So they will try at all costs to avoid death because death doesn't exist. There's no such thing as death. That's the very proof that death doesn't exist, that every living entity tries to avoid it. Because death is not natural, eternal. The soul is eternal, he lives eternal. So when extinction comes his way because of lack of knowledge, then if he's a human being, he realizes God and accepts his destiny. The time is up, cries out to God, and gets liberated. Hey Ram, hey Krishna. But if an ant is walking down the floor and you inhibit his progress and disturb him, he may think, oh, this is an aggressor. Someone may try to kill me. He runs the other way. He runs away. It's natural. You've heard this, no? Self-preservation is the first law of nature. Protect thyself. But the gopis, they're not thinking about protection. They're not thinking about their name in society or their fame, because this is the true meaning. Acharyas are telling us that only by the power of divine love can one actually totally forget his body and all bodily relations. And Brajastriya Krishna Grihita Manasa shows that. If one wants to become a Vairagi, he should worship the gopis. Because whomever you worship, you take on their qualities. As a crystal takes on the color of the nearest object. The crystal is colorless, spotika, glass, faceted glass which reflects images and colors that are shown through it. White light makes a prism. So if you put a red flower near a crystal, then the crystal takes on a reddish tint. So we see in Gaudiya Sampradaya, the devotees worship the gopis, and they're the most renounced. Look at our Das Goswami, Raghunath Das Goswami. Was he a worshipper of the gopis? Certainly. He's teaching the path of perfection, prayojan. So renounced. Rup Goswami, Sanatan Goswami, Gopal Bhatta, Raghunath Bhatta, Jeev Goswami. Tyaktva Turnama Sheshamandala Pati Srenim Sada Tuchavad. They were tyagis. Tyaktva Turnama Sheshamandalapati. Mandalapati. The mandala, the circle of influence, friends, power, name, fame, control. They were working in the government 500 years ago. Ministers, treasury minister, home affairs minister. And gave it all up to run the Vrindavan and follow the gopis. And learn how to be fully detached. Gopi bhava rasamritabda ilahari. Says that they so much followed the gopis, they became absorbed in their bhav. The gopis bhav, the gopis mood of service and dedication, surrender and love. The Brajastriya Krishna Grihita Manasa. They lost their minds by worshipping the gopis and became the most exemplary Vairagis in the history of India. The Sad Goswamis of Vrindavan, they're still worshipped and painted and glorified even today. The famous 6 Goswamis, Sad Goswamis of Vrindavan, that lived here 500 years ago. Gaudiya, Vaishnava, Vairagi, Acharyas, Rasik Janas, Rupa Goswami. But they weren't short on renunciation. So this is a beautiful point. Now the next line we have is Ajagmur Anyonyam Alakshito Dhyama. The translation, Ajagmu, the gopis went Anyonyam. Anyonyam means anyata or anya. No other concern or no other distraction, no one noticed them. Alakshitodhyama means unnoticed. They were all moving towards Krishna from their various houses, leaving their mothers or fathers, or leaving their mothers-in-laws and husbands, if they were married, the Brajaramanis, and then the Kumaris, Braja Kumaris, the unmarried ones. They all left. And so the question we asked, how is it, why did they go out privately or without being noticed? And Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur, he says that each gopi was only aware because if you lose your mind, you're aware of it. And actually you're not aware of too much because you lost your mind. So you'll only be aware of that much and you won't be aware of anybody else losing their minds because you don't have your mind to figure out what their minds are doing. So they lost their minds. They only thought, oh, Krishna, Grihita Manasa. He captivated our minds, he stole our minds. So now we have to go out secretly and unseen by others, because if someone sees us, then they will tell that thief that we're looking for him. Like if someone robs your house, and then you go out and you say, where are you going? I'm going to look for that thief. Then if the thief is your friend and giving you some commission from that hall, then you'll call him and say, watch out, so-and-so is coming to look for you. And he has some idea, this and that. Okay, thank you. So they went out secretly to catch, because that great act of thievery was performed. Vishwanath is following the same analogy that he used earlier in this verse, that they went out, the gopis ran out to catch that thief who performed such a drastic, dastardly deed of stealing their very essence of their being, the mind. The mind is the king. And we're all humble servants of the king known as the mind. That no one will argue. The king is ruling, and the king is the mind. Do this, do that, want that, need this, need that. Then the body and senses and energy and discrimination and intelligence all align themselves to fulfill the unlimited dictations and pushings and wantings of the mind. The vast desire factory called mind, the vast dream factory. This factory, the mind, is running 24 hours a day. During the day, the mind is producing conscious desires and driving us crazy to fulfill them. And during the night, the mind is producing unconscious desires and trying to provide some means to fulfill them, and oftentimes not fulfilling them, and we wake up with unfulfilled dreams. To be continued, or at least desire. Something climax is about to happen in a dream, or just about to win something, or someone's just about to give us a gift, and then we lose a dream and wake up. Oh, my grandfather was about to give me all his money. But then, because I've been dreaming about that for years, and so I dreamt of my grandfather. It's an example. And then one night I dreamt that my grandfather came to me and said, listen, you're my favorite grandson. And don't tell the other ones, but here's my debit card, and here's my bank account in Switzerland. So you keep it quiet. And when I go, it'll all be yours. And it's such a nice dream. And just when he says, now let me get the card out, let me give you, and then the dream breaks. Hey, wait a minute. I didn't get the number of the account number. So mind is continually creating desires, and we have to run life after life in our mad attempts to fulfill the endless desires being cranked out by the mental factory. We all have very wonderful factories. They work 24 hours a day with no electricity. A few glavjamans, a little rajman, a puri, and the mind really works like anything. For days even. Even if you're fasting, even if you don't eat anything for 3 days, your mind says, oh, your body is producing desires, but you're so tired because of your health fast, you can't even move. So you don't have much scope to fulfill those conscious desires. But even when you're sleeping and during a fasting period, so many desires will come up. Usually for food. Like Prabhupada once, he was telling about this, my Gurudev. He said, he was talking about dreams, and he told, one morning he woke up and he told his disciples, he said, last night I had a dream. Because last night when I came back from some pravachan program, my Gurudev said, and I was a little hungry, but it was late, so I simply took rest. But then in my dream, I had this dream that my mother was cooking pakoras for me. He was quite old at the time. My mother was cooking pakoras and serving them to me one by one, and with all kinds of wonderful chutneys. I remember last night, I was eating in my dream. And Prabhupada woke up and he told his dream. He said, he said, sometimes dreaming is like this. You're thinking of eating, so at night you'll cook something and eat in your dream. So the gopis, they're dreaming of Krishna, and they're always planning to meet him. And so they thought, I have to catch this thief. Now there's another reason. Why did they go out on Yonyam? A Jagmur on Yonyam, a Lakshitod Yama, because they didn't want to be discovered by other gopis. For example, if you know that maybe these examples aren't so good, but let's just keep it. Krishna has many gopi girlfriends. So the gopis went secretly because they thought, if my rival, because not all the gopis are friends. Some gopis are friends and some are rivals. And they have a common beloved. The Nayak is one. Krishna is one hero, but the Nayakas are thousands. There are 16,108 gopis in the Maharaj dance. That's the minimum number. Padma Puran and other Purans say that at that particular night, which was so long, for millions of years, there was plenty of time for lots of gopis to take a turn. Because if the dance floor is open for 1,000,000 years, so many people can come and dance on the floor and get off the floor, and more people can dance on the floor. So Krishna was dancing for millions of years on that Maharaj dance in Sharad Purnima, and during those millions of years, he danced with 200 million gopis. 200 million gopis, now that's a lot of dancing. And Krishna was the only male dancer, so that's why he was tired after the rasa dance. He wanted to bathe in Yamuna and have some prasad, some bhog. So they went out because they went out secretly without being noticed by any other gopi, because they didn't want their rivals to say, hey, wait a minute, because the rival Sakhis, they live on the same street. You may live on some street with some other girlfriend that has the same boyfriend. Of course, maybe that's edited, I don't know. But so if you see her going out, so one gopi sees her rival going out, she says, oh, where's she going? She must be going for Abhisar, to meet Krishna. I'm going also. I know a shortcut, and I think I know where he is. I'm going faster, and I'll be there first. So that would be very upsetting and difficult for the first gopi that went. So she went secretly, so she wouldn't be noticed by her rivals. Because there's so many obstacles to meeting Krishna, because it's parakiya bhav. They're not married. The obstacles of husbands and fathers and the forest and night and rain and mud and seasonal obstacles. What to speak of rivals? Competitors, rival Sakhis, competing for Krishna's hand and Krishna's attention. So this is another reason why they went outside, went out alone. Then another reason that the Acharyas say that ajagmur anyonyam alakshito dima, that they went unnoticed, is that they were so much bewildered by this excitement and anticipation of finally meeting Krishna after so long. Some gopis, the Kumaris, they had waited almost a year. Krishna met them and stole their clothes and said, "On the future nights we will enjoy together as husband and wife." That was about so many 8 months, 9 months later. So they were so anxious and so eager to meet Krishna. So when finally that auspicious night came of Sharad Purnima, and they heard Krishna's Jago Kalam, his beautiful flute sound, Ananga Vardhanam, and their hearts were jumping in leaps and bounds to finally dance with their beloved Krishna, whom they performed intense austerities for the entire month of Katyayani, Mrigashirsha, Katyayani Brat, a year before. Now the final fruit of their sankalpa was being presented to them on that wonderful night of Sharad Purnima. So they were besides themselves and overwhelmed with love and excitement. So they were actually bewildered. If someone is bewildered, they don't even know who's there, who's not there, who's in the room or who's not in the room. Sometimes people get in different states of mind, and they don't know who's in front of them or who's behind them or who's anywhere. Well, you see some people in the public, they get drunk or something. Some low-class people, "Hey, everybody, listen to me." And they start speaking, and everyone's looking at them, and they're in their own world. And they start talking, say, "Listen, Prime Minister, I have to give you some advice." And he's just standing on the sidewalk having this imaginary conversation with the Prime Minister because he's a drunken man. And he doesn't realize there's lakhs and lakhs of people walking up and down the sidewalk at Nehru Place, in Delhi or New York City or anywhere. And he's lost in his own bewilderment of his rather intoxicated state. So the gopis were bewildered, they were intoxicated by prem unmad, as we heard earlier, unmad, by the bewilderment and intense impulse and overwhelmment of love for Krishna. So they didn't even know, as they ran away from their houses, that so many other gopis were also running down the same path. That's really bewilderment. You don't know who's in front of you or behind you or near you. So this is one point the gopis are displaying here. Sayatra kanto javalola kundala. This is the last line of 29.4. Sayatra kanto javalola kundala. They were going so quickly, javalola kundala, their kundal were swinging, lola. And where were they going? Yatra kanto. Yatra means where. So the only comment on this word where is from our Gurudev. And his tika on this shloka, he says this word yatra means where. Where? And he Prabhupada let the cat out of the bag, so to speak. He says in his tika, his commentary, he said, they were going, because it says yatra kanto, they were going from point A to point B. They were going from their own houses in Barsana or Chiksoligram or Unchagaon or Rawali or all these different villages of Sakistali around Radharani's palace, and they're all running to meet Krishna somewhere. Yatra kanto, where their lover was waiting. It's not telling where. He could be in any place. He could be in Nandagram or any forest or any van or any gully or any kunja, any nikunj, any place he could be. It's a vast area, Braj Mandal. Yatra, Gurudev says, they went to where their lover, Yatra Kanto, where he was. And where was Krishna? At Vamshivat. So Gurudev says they went to Vamshivat besides the Yamuna in Vrindavan. Vrindavan, to meet their Kanta, their beloved. Yatra Kanto. Where is the beloved? This is a good question. They went to where their beloved is, and that's also a question. Where is a place and where is a question? Where are you going? I'm going where I live. There. I'm going there where I live. So, yatra kanto, where is the lover? Is a lover in this world? Is a lover in that world? Is a lover within myself? Where is the lover? Is a lover without myself? This can also be thought like this, yatra. And if I'm going java quickly somewhere to my kanta, where is that lover located? So the whole idea of human life is to get redirected in the right direction. Go in the right direction. As often sages say, go east and seek your fortune. That's what they say in Europe and other places, go east. But in India they say, go to the Himalayas, go north, go to the Himalayas and seek God, seek self-realization. Usually they say, where did your elderly brother go? Or where did your retired father go? Oh, he went to Haridwar. He went to Himalayas. He went to Rishikesh. Oh, why? Oh, he's looking for God. This is the general impression. They don't usually say, he went to Mumbai. He went to Mumbai. He went south to Mumbai looking for God. He went to Goa. He went to Nicobar. He went to Las Vegas looking for God. I guess you can find God anywhere, but so this where to go, this is the whole idea, where to go. That's the whole question of human life. Who am I? Who am I? Why am I here? Where am I going? Yatra. Yatra. Am I going to my lover in the kingdom of love? Or am I going nowhere fast? I have an expression in America. Where are you going? And then a friend will jokingly say, I'm going nowhere fast. I'm going very quickly, jaldi jaldi, but nowhere. Because where I'm going, I don't know. And where I'm going, I'll never return from again. Because where I'm going is to death. Mar yatra, our where is mrityu. Yatra mrityu. Where we're going is to death. Birth ends up in death. But the gopis are going to their eternal beloved. They're going to, and who their eternal beloved is Krishna, Shyam Sundar, Damodar, Kunja Bihari, Rasa Bihari Krishna. This is a good idea. But moreover, he's not only their beloved, Priyatam, but he happens to be God. Bhagavan, Swayam Bhagavan. By this phrase, the gopis are teaching a good example. Go where your lover is. Yatra kanto. Yatra where? Kanto. Kanto means your lover. Your near one, your dear one. Your special one that fulfills you and enlivens you and delights you and satisfies you. That's an unusual personality, the true lover. We say true love. I have these phrases sometimes, but true love is divine love. Because true love is transparent, and true love is pure, and true love is eternal. And that's the truth that everyone's meant to realize, the truth of divine love. What is the purpose of life? To love God. Any philosopher of the world, most of the philosophers, and most all the religions, the basic thread of that religion, whether it's India or the Middle East or Europe or whatever, the basic common thread of that religion or that tradition of faith is love of God. To love God. Go where your real self-interest is. Go where the Maha art, the real Purusha art, the real value and wealth of human life is there. Go there. Go where? Go where love is. Doesn't that make sense? They have a phrase, one usually likes to stay where he's loved. If you go somewhere and people don't like you, they don't appreciate you, your presentation or the goods that you're selling. If you're a salesman, you're selling, you go somewhere, yatra, to sell your goods, and people say, oh, we don't like these things. They're useless to us. So then you go where? You go somewhere else. So the phrase is, people like to stay where they are loved. Yatra kanto. And generally that's equated with our house, our home. My mother and father love me. My husband and wife, they love me. My children, they love me. So we like to stay there. Home, sweet home. Om, sweet home. Om is the way to the sweet home. Om is transcendental vibration. Om. So the sweet home, if we go where are we really loved? Everyone says, God is love. Love is God. But is love an attribute or a quality or a feeling possessed by a person, by an individual, by an entity, a living entity? Yes. Do tables and floors express love? No. Animals express love. Humans express love. So it's a quality of the living entity, the jiva, to love, to feel, to care, to concern, to be affectionate and appreciative and grateful. Even animals are grateful to the love given to them by their masters. One can go to the jungle and take a baby cub, a tiger, and love that tiger like a friend. And then that tiger will appreciate that person's love and reciprocate with them. There was a famous story years ago about some Western lady who had a tiger, and there was an article written about it, National Geographic. I forget. It was back in the 70s when I was a young man. And she studied tigers in the jungle. So even a tiger, a man-eating tiger, a vicious, flesh-eating jungle predator, can appreciate love. So go where we are loved. So ultimately we say we're loved at home. My mother loves me more than anyone in the world. That's probably true. Universally. My father loves me more than anyone in the world. Or if they're not with us, then we say, well, not quite the same as my mother and father, but my wife loves me so much, or my husband. But friend loves me so much? That's rare, to have one friend. But where is that kanta, that lover that loves us the most, is God. And where he is home, sweet home. That's the spiritual world. That is where he is. So the gopis are going from where they were to where he was. Yatra kanto. Where were the gopis? Yatra, where? They were in their homes. Their homes represent the material world. In their homes were duties and families and children and social duties and ashram duties as wives, and duties to husbands, all alokic all lokic considerations related to their body and their body relations. But Krishna was calling them forth to another home, yatra kanto. Their husbands, the love of their husbands, or the love of their mothers and fathers and brothers was keeping them home, but in this case their home was not Om, but it was home. And home represented the material world. The material world means janma, mrityu, jara, vyadhi, dukkha, dosha, darsham. It means birth, old age, disease, and death, and so much misery. So they left that yatra, that where, and went where God was waiting. There's another way to look at it. They left somewhere. Where did they leave? They left husbands, wives, mothers, fathers, mother-in-laws, etc. We all have those things. So on one level, the gopis are saying, leave all these things and go to where God is. Om, sweet home. Krishna chanted Om in the flute. He chanted Kam Gayatri in the flute. He chanted Klim, the bijam of love, romance, divine sacred love, was mixed in his flute song. And their individual names. And they ran to him. They gave up everything, Grihita Manasa. Giving up, when your mind is controlled and seized by God, then you become truly renounced, a true Vairagi. And then you can actually yatra kanto, you can run to where God is waiting. He's waiting somewhere for everyone. He's under a tree, he's in your heart, he's somewhere in the cave of the heart. Sometimes God is in a cave in Govardhan enjoying with the gopis. Sometimes he's standing under a tree, leaning on a kadamba tree, playing his flute, relaxing and enjoying. Sometimes he's dancing, sometimes he's playing. He can yatra, he can be anywhere in Vrindavan. All of Braj Mandal, Trasi Kosh is marked with Krishna's footprints and Leela Stalis. There are hundreds of villages in Braj Mandal, and they all have names. One village my friend is from is called Radhe Ra. Radhe Ra means the place where Radha lives. Because Radha sometimes came there and stayed with one of her relatives. Whatever relative, she stayed there sometime. So the whole village is named after the time that Radharani came and stayed there with her mother's aunt or something. And in that village, to commemorate Radharani's stay there, there's an entire temple of Radharani under the ground. And the temple is so big, the approach, you can drive a Maruti car under the ground to go and see that temple. Radhe Ra. Radhe Ra. That's one village. And there's hundreds and hundreds of villages. And they're all named after Leelas of Radha and Krishna. And they're parishads. So Krishna Yatra Kanto, where is that lover? He's everywhere in Vrindavan. Everywhere in Vrindavan. So the great saints and sages who are true Vairagis pursuing love of God, Krishna Prem, the Premi, Krishna Premi Bhaktas, they leave Tyaktva Turnam Ashesha Mandala Pati, that unbelievable, unlimited circle of wealth and influence, Ashesha Mandala Pati, and they run to Vrindavan and they become like madmen. Their detachment is so intense and their pursuit and absorption and love and separation is so great, they run everywhere in Vrindavan to all these villages and all these gowns and mountains and caves and trees. And they say, Hey Radhe, Brajadevi Ke Chilalite, Hey Nanda Suno Kutaha, Shri Govardhana Pada Kalpa Tale